Hello and welcome to another week of Netrunner videos. This is week 4, and so we're switching back to some runner videos for this week. And I'm going to be showcasing the other deck which I took to the Intercity Friendly in Edinburgh this weekend. So I was tasked for my team to play Criminal and Replicating Perfection. So the RP deck which I uploaded the games for last week was the Corp deck that I took. The runner deck that I took is this one. So it is a Stealth Andromeda list. I kind of had to audible into playing Criminal, having practiced Shaper for a month because our team had a bit of a reshuffle just before the event. But this is what I ended up throwing together. It's a deck which definitely has some significant weaknesses and problems. The main one being, so we're Criminal, we're using the stealth rig, so that's eating pretty much all of our influence between stealth pieces and multi-access. So we are exceptionally vulnerable to program destruction. We have no way of recurring anything out of our bin, and only 3 icebreakers, 1 corroder, 1 refractor, and 1 switchblade. So if any of those get trashed in any way, then we are in big trouble. In fact, in one of my games in Edinburgh, an underway grid took my refractor against Blue Sun, and led to one of the tensest games of Netrunner I've ever played, as it turned out my Blue Sun opponent only had 1 Enigma, which was already face down over his archives, which I never ran, and he ended up oversight AIing it to try and bounce it back into his hand, but by that point the game was basically over. So, Criminal deck. So we are relying a lot on our resources and Desperado to be the fuel for our draw and economy. So, triple daily casts, triple Earthrise for draw, and 1 John Masanori for draw as well. 3 security testings, and 1 Katie Jones. So the sec testings and the Desperados are obviously going to be the core of our economy here. This works particularly well with a stealth package because you can convert these recurring credits into real credits. If your opponent even has like a lightly iced remote, which you can get into, if you're not thinking of running to try and take points off them, you can cash in these recurring credits off your silencer and off your cloaks to get in and trigger your security testing to make money. We've also invested in a pair of sacrificial constructs. Those are power shutdown protection. Power shutdown and batty, basically. Because again, we lose any of these, we're in big trouble. Katie Jones is in here for long, grindy matches. Obviously, our Refractor and Switchblade are super efficient. The Corroder against high-strength barriers can get expensive, especially if they're stacked together. So Katie Jones just gives us a way to long-term produce some money so we can punch through for some big digs with our R&D interface. So yeah, multi-access is 2 R&D interfaces, 2 HQ interfaces. I go back and forth, but I think I like the interfaces more than the legwork slash Maker's Eye event multi-access. The trouble with the event multi-access is that unless you're running same old things, it can be very limiting, and if you miss with it, then it takes away a lot of your options, whereas since we can threaten with a well-assembled stealth rig to access one of these centrals essentially for free every turn, we want to be making sure that we're constantly putting that pressure on. We've got a bunch of high cost resources, well, 3 or more, so casts, Earthrise, John, Katie, to synergize with our career fair. I particularly like career fair in Andy because what that lets you do is, if you draw a hand of 9, which includes a career fair and one of your resources that you want to put out, it stops you from being in that Andromeda position of, I have to use 4 cards in these first 4 clicks, otherwise I'm discarding. It lets you go career fair out of daily casts. You've got 7 cards left in your hand, and you can now say run that exposed R&D or HQ, or do something which doesn't necessarily involve you vomiting cards out of your hand. 2 plascretes because I choose life. I hate getting blown up, and lots of people are trying to do that to you at the moment, especially going into a tournament where I was expecting obviously 25% of the field to be Wayland, 25% to be MBN, and some portion of that MBN to be trying to kill me as well. So yeah, the plascretes are there just because they in certain matchups they can just win you the game or take away all your opponent's options. My round 1 game against Ashley from Leeds, I was playing. I played 2 plascretes into his harpsichord kill deck, and that was essentially the game. Like, he was never really in a position to kill me after that. Dirty Laundries over Sure Gambles. This is because they've got some nice synergy with my sec testing if I want to make some big money, or they can just make me money for making these free cloak silencer runs into people's locations. Special order to fetch up our breakers as fast as possible. 3 siphons because we're criminal now. There is an argument that siphoning criminal is actually really difficult to land at the moment. So many people playing siphons out of Max or any of the kind of Faust Anarchs. There was even a Chaos Theory deck playing siphons at the Edinburgh Intercity Friendly. So you could argue that because Corps are so alive to the possibility of account siphons with Chrysiums and Caprices on HQ, that they're actually... I tended to discard my siphons more often than I played them during the event. However, when you do get to land them, especially in kind of in concert with each other, it can just be backbreaking. It can win you games on its own, and also you can use it to put pressure on your opponent. With an opponent with, say, 8 credits, unresed HQ with an upgrade on it, and then a remote with something they've just installed into it, a siphon can force them to invest the credits in protecting their HQ, allowing you to then attack that remote, having drained their resources. So, not a useless card by any means, but certainly a lot of people know how to play against Siphon pretty well now. So yeah, so the idea is just to draw a bunch of cards, set up our rig as fast as possible, get some multi-access, and go fishing for points, and make some money. It's fairly straight ahead, not much finesse to this game plan, so let's get some games in. I've got 5 games in the can. Let's see how we get on.